Welcome in, everybody. It is Tuesday night, which means one thing and one thing only. It is time for another episode of the Fantasy Cheat Sheet presented by the Going for Two Live Network. Go like, subscribe, and comment on YouTube, Twitch, wherever you're listening. What is up, boys? Let's just get straight introductions. Jamie, Reggie, what is going on tonight, my guys?
Just looking forward to talking to some veterans today.
Yeah. You got to talk some veterans. Everything ain't about the rookies. We heard everything about the rookies.
Yeah, so the NFL draft's over. So tonight's episode, the 10 cheats of the week, we're back to the original style show. 10 cheats, cheat of the week. It is values up and down on the veterans after the NFL draft. But before we get into our takes and the news of the day, let's do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, guys, let's get into a little bit of news. That way we can just get going with the show. Let's just start with two big signings. One's on defense. I know we don't talk a lot about IDP here, but Jamie, I know you're doing a little bit more with IDP. I know I play IDP, and this guy is just a young stud on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Antoine Winfield got an $84 million contract. What do you think this means for the Buccaneers, and give it an IDP spin as well?
Oh, for Winfield, man, I love this signing. The Bucs just signed a stud for the next, 4 years?
4 years.
4 years, and this dude's only, 25, 26, something like that. He's going to be one of my top picks in IDP right now, especially in Dynasty.
Yeah, in Dynasty for sure. Reggie, what do you think about Antoine Winfield?
I got to tip my hat to you for sure. I think the last two times I've been on the show, you didn't drop news. That's news to me, and I swear I keep my ear to the concrete as much as possible. I think, and that's a defensive back, correct?
Yeah, DB.
Yeah. I think that's a solid addition to a squad that's up on the up and coming. It's going to help them out in that division. Hopefully they're trying to get back to the mountain, on the top of the mountain again.
Yeah, especially if you're in like a sack heavy league or even a tackle league, this dude's money.
Oh, for sure, especially even coming out when he does play the slot every once in a while. The other big extension signing of the day, I think it was today, the Detroit Lions actually shelled out some cash, and they shelled out the cash for a player that if we would have asked a question if he was going to get an extension a year and a half ago, we probably would have said, no, they're going to draft a quarterback. And yes, they did draft a quarterback last year, but he ain't going to be their starter because the Detroit Lions signed Jared Goff to a 4-year, $212 million contract extension with $170 million guaranteed. Enough money for him to buy some more Lululemon, because I do know personally I got someone with their ears on the streets in LA that knows he likes to buy Lululemon. Reggie, what does this mean for Jared Goff? But more importantly, what does this mean for the Detroit Lions wide receiver corps?
Well, you know what you're going to get out of good old Jared Goff. Wasn't he the first overall pick?
First overall pick out of Cal.
Right. They called Trevor Lawrence sunshine, but I beg to differ. I remember that first, I think his rookie year when he was on Hard Knocks and just thinking, oh, this guy isn't going to make it. He is still here, live and direct, operating a massive offense and the weapons that they have there. If they can dial in the defense, they just pretty much said, you are a guy. You are our franchise quarterback. And I don't think that he ever got that signage when he was with the Rams. And to be involved in such a huge trade with Stafford going to the Rams and them winning a Super Bowl and him jumping with the Lions, I think this is a really good win for the NFL, how they're able to lock him up for the long term.
So, Jamie, before I have you go, and I want to say this just so we can lead right into the next piece of news. I 100% agree with you, Reggie, and this is why. I remember watching that first Hard Knocks too. And the thing that we got to remember about that season, and you said he wasn't, he didn't get the opportunity with McVay, but he's getting the opportunity now. Dan Campbell and the regime that's in Detroit is the one that brought him in. Remember, that was the season that Jeff Fisher got fired on camera pretty much. It wasn't on camera when he got fired, but Jeff Fisher literally came into the coaching room and told on Hard Knocks, or remember the in-season, remember he got fired right there. So like in the in-season thing. So they're doing the whole thing. So yeah, that was when he got let go. So Jamie, what do you think about Jared Goff, and what does this do for the fantasy values of? Does this help the values of the other players on the team in Dynasty, or does this just solidify Jared Goff?
Both, honestly. Goff was top 10 last year overall. I believe it was number 2 in pass attempts, number 2 in passing yards. He was fifth in touchdowns. So, and he's not even 30 years old yet. People look at him as an older prospect, and he does not even 30. So if you bought him low, like last year or even this offseason, that's a plus, man, because you got the next 4 years locked down with one of the best receivers in the league, one of the best pass-catching running backs, one of the best offenses, man, high-powered offense. So go get it. Got your money.
Absolutely. And the last piece of information that I want to bring up, tomorrow is schedule release day, but we do have a few matchups that have been confirmed. Me and Jamie have been talking in the background for a certain reason. So I'm going to bring up the 3 new ones that we already know, and then I'll ask a question. So opening night, we know it's the Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens. That Sunday afternoon, Tom Brady's first game as a announcer is the day after, right, Jamie? Is it the day after? The day after Mr. Jamie's birthday in Cleveland against the Dallas Cowboys. This morning it got leaked and ESPN confirmed it. The first Monday night game is going to be Aaron Rodgers going back to the Bay and playing the Niners on Monday night. So, Reggie, you're in the Bay, so I'm going to ask you a question about the Bay. I know people my family's from Chico. That's where Aaron Rodgers is from. Is this actually a homecoming game for Aaron too? Or is this just the Jets having another game in Frisco on week 1?
I think a little bit of both. But Aaron Rodgers is going to come out here to play. I think it's interesting him coming off that Achilles, playing a top-notch defense. It's made for TV. That's what it is. Is it him coming home? It's another game for the Jets. This is something to get the ratings because everybody knows he's from the Bay, and I think didn't the Niners pass on him? Yep, so he's coming in here.
That was the Alex Smith year.
Yeah, he's coming in here to trying to get a win. And he's trying to put the league on notice. What did he last? 3 plays, 13 seconds or whatnot last year? He's going to play like his hair is on fire.
Yeah. Jamie, you know what game I'm going to ask you about. So here's the question. I actually think this is going to be a very competitive game. I know a lot can happen from now till September 7th or 8th, whatever the day is. But was this a game? Do you think the league put this on the schedule so you have a star team in the Cowboys tied with Brady and a conceived easy game? Or do you think they put it on this schedule as an actual hard-fought game?
That's a good question.
I think it's a hard-fought game anyway.
It is.
But
it's gonna be a nail-biter. Honestly, I think they put it on the schedules because my former co-host on the Start Sit Show, Benny, he's a Dallas fan. And he said, if Dallas ever faces Cleveland in Cleveland, I'm coming out there to go see that game with you. So it's meant to be. Day after my birthday, they put this game on the schedule for me.
Hey, if you're that lucky that Roger Goodell even knows who the F you are, then I give it to you. But Jamie, we know
No,
the real
for real.
reason. It's Brady.
Yeah,
It's
for real.
Brady and the boys.
No, I just think it's like two bad teams people were talking about for the last 20 years, right?
For different reasons.
For different reasons. And I think the Browns are going to step it up. I mean, we made the playoffs, and we're going to show that we can beat a playoff team. Like two playoff teams facing off against each other. We're gonna definitely. I could see it being a nail biter, but I think the Browns pull it off because it's at home.
All right, so I'm just going to say something really, really quick about the Chiefs-Ravens opener. I don't like the game because it's the Ravens and they're a tough team. However, this was the only option, in my opinion, for the NFL to put on TV opening night. This was when you looked at who the Chiefs had, because we already know who they're going to play at home and away. When you looked at the opponents, this was the ultimate pick. I don't like it because we could lose the game, but for ratings, for everything else, a rematch of the AFC Championship game at our stadium and not Baltimore, this seemed perfect. But we need to start getting into some veteran talk, so let's just do it. So it is time for the 10 cheats of the week. So guess what? Jamie, you know what the next line is. Class is in session, people. So, Jamie, why don't you give us your first name and tell us stock up or not stock, because we'll do a stock up, stock down show later in the summer, but up or down on this player's value due to the draft.
All right, so my first player is CeeDee Lamb, and I know you're going to say, how can his value get any higher? He was already the number one receiver last year. He was like number one in targets, like number one in touchdowns, and number one in points per game. Well, in the draft, they did not add anyone significant, right? They gave up Michael Gallup, let him walk. Tony Pollard was top 10 in running back receptions last year. They didn't add a running back. I think they're just going to throw the ball even more to CeeDee Lamb. So him getting 30% of the targets last year, I could see that going up, even if it's like 2 to 3%. All right, so he is my number one pick in redraft leagues. If I have the number one pick, yeah, it's going to be between CMC and Lamb. I'm putting him over Jefferson because of this. I'm putting him over Chase, over Hill. Even in Dynasty, he's got to be number one in Dynasty right now. They didn't add it. They didn't add anyone in the draft. Nobody.
Well, I'll give my take in a second. Reggie, what do you think about CeeDee Lamb as a stock, as a value up, being that he's already that high? And what do you think about his overall, what the Cowboys will do overall?
I think they're gonna feed him like a large kid loves cake. I don't know if the defenses will be able to just double team him because Brandon Cooks is getting older. Like he mentioned, they're getting to pick up a running back. What is that offense going to look like? Is it going to be the Jake Ferguson and CeeDee Lamb show? I think he's going to eat regardless because has he been paid yet? And I know he wants to reset the market. Anybody know his money wise? Is he up for payment?
Keep talking and I will get it.
Yeah. So I think it's wheels up for CD. This time last year, we was talking about CD being the third or fourth wide receiver in fantasy. And now we're talking about him being number one, legitimately, right? So over the years, I've seen once somebody normally gets that number one title, they keep it for a while. As far as up, if you're number one, you can't really go no higher. Are we talking about, do I think he's going to increase the gap from 1 to 2? I do not, because we didn't see what Justin Jefferson had to bring last year with his injury and the quarterback issues or whatnot, but he can still very well be number one if he can get an adequate quarterback play from Sam Darnold or JJ. So I'm not so quick to say that this time next year will CD still be number one. Normally they stay there multiple years, but don't count Justin out.
Well, you got to remember though, his first 5 games he started slow. Like he was wide receiver 40, wide receiver 30, another wide receiver 46 game, and people were like trying to sell him, and I'm like, no, buy him because look at the rest of his schedule. You got to look at the game script that actually happened, and they didn't need him those games. So imagine if those first 5 games he was playing like he did the last 10. Like he's gonna go up, in my opinion.
For the life of me, what I cannot believe, Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb came out the same draft class.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm saying it, and I still don't believe it.
And Jalen Reagor.
Yes,
right
there.
Don't forget.
Jalen
Reagor was drafted.
Wasn't he?
No, he was drafted before. It
Jefferson.
went CD. It went CD, Reagor, Jefferson within 4 picks.
Okay.
So let me finish this real quick for Reggie. I just want to make sure that I do this right. All right, so let me answer your question, or I'm going to go towards what you were saying first, Jamie. I drafted him, so you brought up that you have him in your number one,
Wide receiver spot,
redraft.
maybe even overall.
Yeah. I had in the best ball league that me and you have talked about. I had the number 2 spot. CMC went 1. I didn't even think. I saw the names. Tyreek was number 1, in the ADP. It went Tyreek and then CD and blah, blah, blah. I didn't even think. I grabbed CD at the number 2 spot overall. To me, it's not a question at all. However, I do think it's a 50-50 split if he's the number 1 dynasty wide receiver. I do not think it's Tyreek. If anyone wants to tell me that Tyreek Hill is the number 1 dynasty wide receiver, I will tell you, you are a fool.
Yep.
And purely because I don't think he's in the league in 3 years. And if you want to be my number 1 dynasty wide receiver, you better be playing on my team in 3 years. I do think Justin Jefferson is, if I had to pick, I would probably say Justin Jefferson is, if I had to draft right now, it's 1A, 1B, and I could probably flip a coin between the 2 of them, but I probably would sit there. Honestly, Jamie, you know how me and you talk about, even with best ball, you have to do it. But, in Dynasty, every once in a while, with the amount of leagues we're in, we got to what? Diversify our portfolio.
Nope.
And it would if I was in a startup right now and those were 2 on my board, I would probably look at my other teams and go, what do I have the least amount, and draft the other one. Because that also shows you how much I believe in JJ compared to some, and not Justin Jefferson, but JJ McCarthy in getting him the ball. For Reggie's question, here's what I will tell you, Reggie. The answer to your question, he is an unrestricted free agent after 2024. So he is straight up, he's making $17.99 million this year. And then he is 7.04% of the Cowboys cap this season. He is going to get paid, and he is going to get paid very nicely. Here's what's funny. Guess who else is an unrestricted free agent after the year of 2024?
Dak.
Justin Jefferson, who's going to reset the market. Because but here's the thing. I think they're going to hold out and try to wait for the other to get the deal.
They're gonna
Because
play
if
chicken.
if you're Justin and CD gets 20, say, I'm not saying it's a bad number or anything. I'm just using a round straight number. Say Justin gets 20 flat and I'm CD, I'm getting 21. If it's 20 and CD gets 20 and I'm Justin, I need to pay for my grills. I need to pay for my chains. I need 22. But that's enough talk about CD Lamb. Reggie, why don't you give us your first player and value up or value down?
Well, this player, as far as dynasty, and I can even give a sprinkle aspect to him from a redraft perspective. But since the draft was how I read the question,
Yep.
who player stock has went up, and prior to the draft, I didn't want much of this player. But after the draft and not seeing the Giants pick anyone, you know what? Let them come after me. Drew Lock is the backup quarterback on the Giants after coming over from Seattle. And I've been digging into Daniel Jones. Had a neck injury prior to the ACL, the knee injury. There's an out in this contract possibly. I'm put some fillers out to see if this year, if Daniel Jones does not play a down, his contract is voidable. To what extent, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it would just make more sense to give Drew Lock the opportunity, especially if he beats him out in camp and isn't healthy or starts off slow. If Drew Lock gets the job from the start, he can very well keep it for the year. And it's in the team's best interest. We've seen teams do stuff like this. Just as recent as last year, I'm pretty sure Denver Broncos was trying to do something with another quarterback to cut his money. I'm not sure how, I won't speak on that, but these organizations are always trying to figure things out from this aspect. What do you plan to win on the Giants this year with Daniel Jones? Why not play the other man? And I think Drew Lock is in the backgrounds of a dynasty draft. If he is possible going to be a starter, he's a starter. Now, whether or not you want him or not on your team, it's just something to think about. And as far as redraft, I would just say, and everybody probably is 12 teams probably in the redraft league. Daniel Jones is undraftable.
Jamie, let me take this one. I usually throw it to you, but I'm taking this one from you because I'm actually passionate about this one. And Jamie, you know how Reggie doesn't know how I am when I get passionate. And no, it's not going to be my rant of the week, okay? Not yet.
Dang.
No. But I am passionate. But guess why? I can't have it be my rant of the week. Because you're freaking right. Because this is my opinion. Let's take the injury out of it. Okay, yes, he came back injury, but let's take the neck injury out of it. Let's take what I'm trying to say is let's take the voidable contracts thing out of it. Okay. Because that could play part of the decision. But let's take that out of it.
Okay.
Drew Lock is winning this battle. Drew Lock is starter week 1. That's how I feel. Drew Lock is going to win that battle. He is going to start. And if he doesn't start the season, he is going to start by week 4. Okay? I don't know their schedule yet. It hasn't been leaked. But every year they played every year they played the Eagles and the freaking Cowboys within the first 5 weeks of the season. Every freaking year, no matter what. And that's 2 losses. I know there's people down on the Cowboys, but I think the Giants are the worst team in the NFC East. I'll be on record saying that. I think they're the worst team in the NFC East, and they might be one of the top 2 or 3 worst teams in the NFL. Okay? Yes, they went out and got Malik. Jamie. Devin Singletary's their starting running back, and after that, they got freaking Matt Breida and Eric Gray. Okay? The reason I bring that up to you and you only, and not Reggie, is because you know how I felt about Eric Gray before the season last year. I thought he was going to get some run. They cut Breida? Oh, God,
I
even
think
worse.
they did. They did grab Tyrone Tracy. Sorry.
Yes, they got Tracy, but Tracy, that's where I was going. Tracy's sneaky. However, for the Drew Lock part of it, you brought up redraft. I don't think I don't think Daniel Jones is actually undraftable. I think he is on. You're gonna have to get him 20 to 24. Like if you go back up, but for Dynasty, I had Drew Lock on a team in Dynasty. I've been a Drew Lock supporter even when he was in Denver, but I had Drew Lock on a team. Someone asked me, "Hey, I'm interested in Drew Lock because I think he could end up being the starter in New York." That was the worst way that guy could have asked me that question to get him off my team during the rookie draft. I said, well, sorry, so do I. So unless you're going to give me a second-round pick for Drew Lock, you're not getting him. And he goes, I can give you a late third. I go,
nope, thank you.
Second. And he goes, okay, fine. So I kept him. I think he's going to start. I don't know how much the future. I don't know if I would be drafting him in a startup. But, Jamie, I'm going to throw it to you really quick so we can keep moving on. But Don't you think Drew Lock, I'm going to give you this take, let you do a little bit take, but don't you think that Drew Lock is a perfect round 16 to round 18 third quarterback in best ball?
Yes, I do, because here's my take. So it's funny that you brought this up. That I didn't even think about this until you actually brought him up, but about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I was looking and I saw Drew Lock on a bunch of waivers. I saw that there was some kind of clause in Daniel Jones' contract. It's like an injury clause.
Yep.
And if he gets injured this year, they still have to pay him a bunch of money. So why would they risk paying him all that money when they have a quarterback like Drew Lock? Drew Lock is still only like 26 years old, right? And he's been in the league for like 5-6 years. He really never got a chance. Remember when he was in Seattle with Geno? I thought Lock was the better quarterback than Geno.
You did. I remember that.
Look what happened. So, yeah, give me Lock, man. Great call, dude. I didn't even think about that for this show, but stock up on Lock.
And thank you for the clarification.
He's 27.
The clarification, because I haven't pinned down what is voidable if he doesn't play.
What it is, it's the same
he gets guaranteed money if he gets injured.
It's the exact same reason that the Raiders benched Derek Carr at the end of that year. When Derek Carr had 5 games left and they said, hey, we're just going to let you go home, just walk. Because if Derek Carr got hurt, those last 5 games, they owed him an X amount of his contract. That's what the same thing is.
Guaranteed money.
It's guaranteed money.
And Locke, if I remember, he does have rushing ability too.
He has.
He's not super fast, but I mean, he's faster than.
He's got. I'll say this: he moves like Aaron Rodgers. He's deceivingly not quick at all, but he can get out of the pocket.
Yeah, but he's big too. He's got that big body and.
Yeah. All right. So for my first guy. Let me pull this up because I honestly forgot who I was doing. Okay. So here's for my first guy. Jamie knows how sometimes I like to be a
Oh, Mike froze. But yeah.
little off the board. The reason I'm going Cincinnati Bengals is the same reason that Jamie went with CD Lamb for his first one.
Mm-hmm.
They did not bring anybody in the draft. I thought they could. There was a couple guys that I thought they could because there's guys that were in the draft that could complement Zach Moss and Chase Brown. I am mainly talking about Zach Moss in this, but I am also saying that Chase Brown's value is up due to the fact that he is solidified as the 2-3 with Chris Evans. Zach Moss was in Buffalo, didn't do great, whatever. Then he goes to Indy. Okay. He doesn't do great in Indy, but there were a couple of games, remember Jamie last year?
Oh, he smashed.
When Jonathan Taylor was out, He had one game that I think he was the number 1 or number 2 that week. He's a guy that has to get the opportunities. He's not a guy that you can sit, he doesn't do well with, he's one of those guys that does better with more opportunity. Yes, Cincinnati doesn't run the ball a whole bunch. They're not the Indianapolis Colts in the running game. They're not the Baltimore Ravens in the running game because they got Joe Burrow, they got T. Higgins, they got freaking Jamar Chase. Yes, they got Mike Gesicki. I will say it. But I think Chase Brown value is up. However, my take is purely a redraft focused take. I am not taking Zach Moss or Chase Brown. I'd have Chase Brown in Dynasty, but my Zach Moss is redraft. I don't want him in Dynasty. However, if you have him on your team already, hold on to him. But he's not a guy that I'm going to go out and buy. He's not a guy that you're probably going to get a lot for. The only way you're going to get a lot for him is week 10, year out of the playoffs, and someone needs a running back. Mm-hmm. But in redraft, I am absolutely willing to take Zach Moss in the dead zone because I know that he will succeed. Jamie, what do you think?
100%. Like, he's actually past the dead zone. He's going in round 9, end of round 9.
I'll give him to me that.
So in best ball, check this out. So in best ball, if you go like a 0 RB type or hero RB, maybe get like a good one in the first 2-3 rounds. You wait until round 9 to get Zach Moss, and then come back around and take Chase Brown also.
Yep.
In round 10, I've seen it. I was in a puppy draft with the FF Face Off, and one of the guys actually did that, and I thought that was a great strategy, taking both of them. But dynasty wise, I don't want anything to do with any of them. Even Chase Brown. Last year, I believe I sold Chase Brown in the middle of a Monday Night Football game when he was going off or something. Someone offered me a 3rd round pick for him. I took it right away. I don't even know who I got for him. I could look, but I'm guessing it was early to mid. So I'm willing to take that all day. If you can get a 3rd round for Chase Brown, take it.
Reggie, what do you have real quick so we can move it on?
I like
what do you think about
Zach in both formats. I'm after this offseason and seeing how expendable running backs are. If they're going to produce, if it's for 1 year or 2 years, the running back class next year is pretty deep, supposedly, air quotes. But so I've been taking a different approach in 80% of drafts where I've been going wide receiver heavy, and I've been dependent on it, even in startups, players like Zach Moss as my RB2 when you can get him like even later in Dynasty. As for a redraft, I'm plug and play in the 9th round. I can't really talk redraft this time of year because I'm so locked in on Dynasty. I don't even do redraft till August. I have to shut off Dynasty to even get in redraft brain.
We got to get you in some best balls, man.
Yeah, I'm in a couple, but I'm very new. Yeah, best ball.
Well, and then with SFB coming up, that's all redraft. It's only a month away, so my brain's trying to go back and forth.
Yeah.
All right, so Jamie, before you give your next player, I need to give you some rules, okay?
Oh, geez. All right.
We have bashed this player enough in the past 6 weeks. We had him on our Cell show,
and that's not enough.
Hey, let me speak. We had him on another show. I know you did not like this player before the draft. So tell us why you still don't like this player, but keep it to a couple minutes. Don't give me the whole hour spiel.
All right, it's because of Kyron Williams, man. Definitely stock down. Here's the reason why. Before the draft, I was seeing him back in like March when I was doing my best ball. He was going off like 5th, 6th overall as like one of the top running backs. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, he's a small, slow school guy. They drafted a running back that is a national championship running back with day 2 draft capital. So you don't think you add that guy to any backfield, you're gonna have to lower the supposedly number one guy. Do you really think they're gonna still give Kyren 80 to 90% of snaps when they have a guy that can do everything he can do but better? Yeah, Sean McVay is known for going with one back, but do you think he's that naive to just sit a running back that they just drafted on day 2? I don't think so. I don't think you could do that. So yeah, in the maybe first 3 weeks, I can see Kyren maybe getting 75 to 80% still, but it's going to slowly start going down. And if you tell me that halfway through the season, Kyren's still getting 80% of the snaps, I'm just going to call you can't say it on air, but you're ridiculous, because not only can he not stay healthy, and they drafted Corum so he can stay healthy, so they're going to give him less work. I've already seen him fall in best balls to the late round 2, and he was going late round 1, so he fell a whole round, and he's just going to keep falling. I can see him going maybe in August by maybe late round 3. I'd say early round 4 should be where his value should be, but you're still drafting him in the second round. You need to chill out on that. Drop him a little bit. If you're going to say, hey, I'm going to draft a guy in late second, or I can get Corum in I don't even know where he's going, 12th, 13th round. And by halfway through the season, they're getting 50-50 split. Give me the guy that has better draft capital, that can do everything better than Kyren can. He's a better runner. He's a better blocker. He can catch balls out of the backfield if he needs to. So he is a stock down, and I can see it going down even farther the closer we get to the season.
All right, Reggie, I'm done talking about this guy, so I'm giving you the floor for a minute or so before we go to your next guy, because I'm done.
I have over 20 dynasty teams at the moment, and I don't have a single share of Kyren Williams.
Same.
And I just take the stance of it's the Rams, and that coach likes this guy when he likes his guys. And there's Zach Evans is still on that team, Debbie Darlin. Maybe he likes sitting a guy for a year. Who's to say he don't get his head out his butt? And then you got Corum coming in. He's not built for that kind of workload. And he always reminds me, I think it was Javid Best had a tremendous year one year, and he was never the same after it. I don't know what was the cause for it. Great on special teams, had a tremendous year, I think, with the Ravens. And I rather not get into that boat. I'd rather get Corum, because he's already shown us the propensity to get injured. And then Corum's younger. I think he can take a little bit more than we expect from his workload. Today, I'm in a startup, 12-team Superflex. He just went 4-9.
Wow.
Or 4-9. I just looked.
I don't like to build around running backs, and that's way too early.
4-9. Nope. Not going to be able to do it. When I can get players like Kenneth Walker at 6'3".
Yep.
Make it make sense.
Yep. Like, I've seen Kyren as high as like running back 6 overall in dynasty ranks, and now I can't even put him in my top 12. All right, let's move on. We had enough Kyren Williams talk.
Yeah. I was like, I'm not saying nothing. Y'all take the wheel. Who's our next man?
Like, either frozen or he's really pissed.
Yeah, it's probably both. Probably both.
Mike, what? Uh-oh.
Do we want to go into your next guy and keep it going until he comes back?
Mike, I think we shocked the world. I think he's in a coma.
Yeah. He's had enough. Oh, he's back. He's back, baby.
All right. Reggie,
Yes.
I cannot see you right now. My computer is messing up.
No
But
worries.
it's your turn, and me and you are going to have problems after your next guy. Go ahead.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Oh, them are
all right,
fighting
y'all
words.
better buckle up, chat. So my next guy is no other than Javonte Williams, and the arrow is pointing down since draft. I just before draft, I was liking J Mac, Jamil McLaughlin, and I picked him up where I can for thirds, and I still feel good about that. But they went and got Estime, and you know what? Samaje Perine is the Gabe Davis of running backs. He might not do it for fantasy, but once in a blue moon, but he's a lot better for a football team. What if he makes this team? And I think he's making this team. They did not pick up the fifth year option. What they seem like they're doing is they have carbon copies of multiple backs that does the same thing. And we all know Sean Payton, and we all know that Bo Nix is going to throw the ball to the running backs. Who week is it going to be? And Javonte should play well a year after, removed from the injury, but he's playing for the next team he's going to play for. Who's going to not pick up a fifth year option on somebody, and then what are they going to do? Franchise tag him or give him a deal in the middle of the season? I don't see Javonte staying with this team, and he's not the next coach's pick per se, maybe, but he's just not wanted here. He just doesn't. I don't think he's wanted here.
Jamie, why don't you go real quick?
Yeah,
so
real
I can
quick.
weigh in
I agree with you. Stock down, but that's for Dynasty. For best ball, I can see him being a value because people are ignoring him. But for the future, I actually don't believe P. Ryan's going to make the team this year. They drafted Estime. Estime can do some things that Javonte Williams could do, right? So they also drafted Blake Watson.
Undrafted.
UDFA.
Yeah, undrafted.
They picked him up. So Blake Watson in this draft, Kyle Senra, friend.
You only know who Blake Watson is purely because he's freaking Kyle's number one guy.
He was his number one overall running back in his whole class for a prospect wise. So in the years coming up, I believe they're going to let Williams go. They're going to cut P. Ryan this year. I don't even think he makes a team. They're going to roll with Estime, McLaughlin at satellite, and then have Blake Watson be that second satellite guy.
And what about Estime?
All right.
No, I said Estime is going to take over pretty much for Williams.
So, Jamie, what do we normally have a certain what is there a segment of the show called during the regular season? There's a certain
rant of the week.
Well, there's not a rant of the week in this show, but there is now. And I am about to give my rant of the week. And Reggie has never seen a rant of the week.
I'm recording it.
Reggie's never seen a rant of the week, and he's about to.
Get your popcorn, Reggie.
So it's part agree and part disagree with you, Reggie. So it's not fully disagree, but it's me going off about a couple things. All right, you ready? You ready, Jamie? One, you were absolutely wrong, Mr. Jamie Perogue, because Samaje Perine is making this dang team. He had 56 targets last year and 50 receptions. What does Sean Payton like to do? He likes to pass to the running back, like Reggie said. He is making this team. Unfortunately, him making this team is going to cut work out of only one person, and his name is Javonte Williams. It's not going to take the work out of McLaughlin because I think McLaughlin is over there making bed and breakfast for Sean Payton on the road. That's how much he likes him. Okay? Audric Estime is poo-poo. I'm sorry. I do not believe in Audric Estime whatsoever. But does it matter if me and you believe in Audric Estime, Reggie? It doesn't matter if me and you
Not at
agree
all.
with him or believe in him. It matters if freaking Sean Payton believes in him. And Sean Payton believes in guys like Tony Jones, Mark Ingram, and guys he actually gets the ball to at the goal line instead of Alvin freaking Kamara. Okay? Now, here's my main issue with Sean Payton. Javonte Williams, I believe still, yes, I was a Javonte truther, but I still believe he has value in this league. And just because he was not your draft pick doesn't mean you have to ruin his career, because that's what he is going to do. Yes, his stock, his value is down, not up. I believe that he still has value as Dynasty. You are absolutely right, Jamie, about his value in best ball. Sean Payton, leave this kid alone and let him be a running back in the NFL. You want your guys to succeed. The worst thing you could have done was draft Audric Estime. It was the worst thing that he could have done, and I don't know what he was thinking. I did not like the move. I don't think, honestly, you could have kept Javonte, Pirine, McLaughlin, and signed Watson as a UDFA and never have touched Audric Estime. So even though I believe that Reggie's take is partially right here, it drives me nuts because I just think this is putting a cap and putting an anchor on someone's fantasy value that you didn't need to do. You know what I mean? He's honestly doing the same thing in a different way, but he's doing the exact same damn thing that Arthur Smith did to Pitts. He's doing the exact same thing. He gave the ball to freaking Jonnu Smith instead of Pitts. He ran plays around. He's going to do the same thing. He's not going to give, and like, he might have a good game here or there, and that's why, Jamie, I know you're bringing up best ball. The problem is, for Dynasty and for redraft, we can't sit there and go back. We're all old enough. We're all old heads in the sense of we remember the days, because I was talking to a guy at work who's young. He doesn't remember this. We remember the days in Atlanta when you couldn't say it was going to be Coleman or Freeman who was going to be the hot hand that day. And that was when Shanahan was the OC, the year that they lost a 28-3 lead. There was a league that I had Freeman, but I didn't know when I benched him, he got 20. When I started him, he got 8. Okay? It is just bada boom, bada bing. So for my next down, it is pretty evident why this guy is next down, but I'm glad Reggie has this team in the background right now, and he has that stupid hat on because it combines both.
That hat.
No, because it combines both of them. The value is completely down on Derek freaking Carr for 2 reasons. One, they drafted an not up and comer. He's already, he's had the talent, he's had the hype, but someone that had a little bit of a going downhill before he went to South Carolina, proved he could play, went to the Senior Bowl, had a good Senior Bowl, had a good combine. Spencer Rattler, I believe, could be the future for that Saints team if they let him do it. If they're out of it this year and they're struggling, I could see them giving him the keys sooner than later. The other reason I say that his stock is down, Chris Olave is great. I love Chris Olave. You know that, Jamie. But that's all they got. And they didn't bring anyone else in. They didn't bring anyone else in the
Yeah, they did.
Don't you dare say they brought in Bub Means.
I was just joking, but yeah.
Okay. They brought in a guy named Bub. That's all you need to know. They didn't bring any wide receivers in free agency, kind of like the Cowboys, where Jamie was saying he's surprised because they didn't bring anyone in free agency, and they've let Gallup go that they didn't bring in another guy. Let's not forget, the Saints let Michael Thomas walk. He's still not on a team. That says a lot about Michael Thomas. They don't really have anyone. Jawan Johnson is can get targets, but he's not an athletic. He's not an over-the-top guy. We don't know when Kamara is going to fall off the bus, because I think he's going to fall off the bus eventually. It's just a matter if he falls and trips off the bus this year or if it's next year. Kendra Miller hasn't proven anything. Even though he's a stud of a prospect, we don't know. You brought up that Daniel Jones is undraftable in redraft. Here's another one. He is undraftable in redraft. He is a QB3 in best ball, and I don't want him on my team in Dynasty. Jamie, I'm done.
Not only did they not bring in a receiver, they didn't even address the tight end position where they needed to. 35-year-old Taysom Hill, come on, man. Juwan Johnson, who really hasn't proven much at all. I mean, if you look at their receiving core, it's what, A.T. Perry, what's that guy's name? Rashid Shaheed.
It's Rashid Shaheed, A.T. Perry, and
then Chris Olave. Those are all downfield guys, stretch receivers, just going down the field. Like, you can't just throw the ball down 20 yards every single play. So that doesn't make sense. Why they let Michael Thomas go? Because he was Mr. Slant guy. You could have easily just threw a 5-yard pass to Michael Thomas, but now they can't do that. So I am out on Carr. I've been out on him for about a year.
Oh, I have
maybe even 2 years now. So good call.
All right, Reggie.
Not draftable.
I would skip you so we can keep going, but with that flag in the background and that hat, I'm giving you the floor real quick.
I'm just gonna come at it like this. I'll make it fast. I think he doesn't have anybody pretty much over his shoulder. I hope he plays well, but at the same time, I agree with you in my heart. In a rookie draft last week, I took Spencer Rattler at the 304 because Derek Carr is my quarterback too. So
okay, I get that.
I've seen him going fourth many times before I took him, but I had no more picks.
Yeah,
I couldn't trade back. Couldn't even risk trading back.
No,
so I got him at I think 304, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm at the 410 right now in the draft, and I don't even know what I did. I think I gave him Tillman and something else, and I'm like, let me get this pick so I can get Spencer Rattler and just put him on my taxi squad.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Jamie, why don't you give your next player?
My next player is Zay Flowers. All right. I've been hearing a lot of people saying he's a sell. Why is he a sell? I don't understand. They didn't add anyone significant in the draft. They have Bateman as their number 2. I think they drafted a guy late that's going undrafted in rookie drafts. I can't remember his name.
Baker. No,
No.
Baker.
I'll look it up.
Yeah,
look it up. So anyway, I don't understand why you would sell this guy. The dude had a good rookie season. People were buying high on him last year during the season. So why are you selling low on him right now? Zay Flowers is a buy for me if you can get him at a good price. People are just ignoring his name in best ball. He's connected to a championship winning team with a strong arm court. Lamar can get the ball down the field. We've seen it. He's got a strong arm. They didn't add anyone else in the receiving court or at the tight end. And they brought in a bruising back for the running back position. So they're not going to throw the ball that much out of the backfield. They never did anyway. So go buy Zay Flowers, get him cheap. He's Good best ball ad, good redraft, good buy low.
All right, so here's what. Okay, I'm gonna give you information, then I'm gonna tell you what people think, and then I'm gonna tell you what I think. The information that you need is they drafted a wide receiver that is poo-poo.
Yeah.
And that's Devontae Walker.
Yes, that's it.
Out of North Carolina.
Yep.
Okay. What you need, the reason people are saying that you want to not necessarily sell them, but they're not high on them, is because one of the reasons that you brought up, people believe because the fact that they did bring in Derrick Henry, that they're going to throw and with a healthy Mark Andrews, that the target share is going to go down, and they're actually going to throw less to Zay because of Andrews and because of having Henry. The perception is that their passing game is actually going to be. Let's just say this: if the percentage of passes stay the exact same as they did last year,
so we'll get 25% target share.
No. I'm saying for the team. I'm not saying for him.
Oh.
With a completely healthy Mark Andrews, the assumption is that the share, more of the target share is going to go to Andrews, and they can also run 12 personnel and have a setup even more with Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews. That's the perception. What I think real quick is I am not buying. I'm going to say I do not believe that his value goes. I do not say his value is going down. I'm not saying that at all, Jamie. But I am not going out and buying them unless I can get them for a little bit of a discount. But there is absolutely no way you're getting them off my dynasty rosters at the same time. I will not let him go. In redraft, he's probably going to be a little too expensive for me. If I can get him on a dip in best ball, give him to me all day. Reggie, why don't you give your take and then roll right into your next guy?
Okay, so I love me some Flowers. I love the talent. He passes the eye test. I do understand, they signed Rashad Bateman, so that's a plus for Flowers. I just think the fact that Mark Andrews is kind of the gatekeeper to the passing volume, the very little passing volume that they have there, he gets injured every year. Am I wrong? Has he played a full year?
I don't think for 3 years.
Yeah. So right now, today in the startup I'm in Dynasty, he went 5-4. That's too rich for me. If I can get him in the 7th. Like, I want him in the 7th. That's where I got him last year.
I was in 7th. So, yeah.
So if he's in the 7th, I'm all over it. I'm not playing that 5-round price for somebody that's going to be lower volume unless an injury-dependent player. And we're going to roll right on into our next one, which is mine. And it's the Up Raiders. Up. Give me the elevator pitch on Zamir White, the Bear. If you play in a points per carry league, points per first downs, if you play and you have point PPR, this is redraft, this is dynasty, who's in his way? Are you going to tell me Dylan Lobb? Are you going to tell me Alexander Madison? They look at the coach, look at this offense. They're going to run 2 tight ends. They do they even have a fullback? I'm not even sure. Zamir White is going to be fed. They're going to run it to the wheels and fall off. Yes.
Reggie.
What did I say? Did I cuss?
No. You have to know that Jamie's favorite running back is Alexander Madison.
No. Alexander Madison, buddy.
He calls him Alexander Madison.
He is so bad.
Okay, you're kidding. I was like,
yeah, we're joking.
I'm like, ooh. Well, I just think they brought in a pass catching back, and that's one thing Zamir is not going to do. But he's probably going to gobble up a ton of touchdowns. He's going to get a ton of carries, points per carry. Put your money on him. His ADP has not seemed to have corrected much. It has risen, but it's like everybody has this stigma because it's the Raiders. The Raiders came really close to making the playoffs last year. Once they changed the coaching, they started playing for real. And this team is his. They don't see a drop off from Jacobs to White. Now, White, I do think, did have a lot of carries last year. It was on pace for a lot. And I think in college, Georgia, if I'm not mistaken, he had a lot of carries.
Yep,
so it is that worry. But can you give me 80% Nick Chubb? I'll take it, okay? Like, I hate to put that comparison in helmet scout, but sign me up for some Zamir White. I got him a bunch last year for a little bit of nothing. I want to say I've drafted him in the rookie draft for nothing. So I can't, my portfolio can't take much more than Zamir White. Because if it isn't true, I'm going down on the blade hard.
All right.
Okay, so I'm going to take this real quick.
I know. I was going to say, you take it real quick.
I agree that he is going to get the volume. So you give him 60 to 70% of the carries, right? He'll give you RB2 numbers just on those carries alone. But he's a volume back. We really didn't see him much last year until the end of the year. So I would say he'll bringing in a guy like Lob that we'll touch on a little bit later, but he's going to take more of the passing downs. I don't see Zamir White catching a lot of passes. So he's going to need that volume of running, but it's a bad team and they don't have anyone else behind him that can take the workload of that 70% of actual carries away. So he is going to be like a low-end RB2 that you're getting for basically free that people are ignoring.
Let me butt in. I'm going to tell you, I'm a Nebraska fan and through Amir Abdullah. No joke, fan.
No.
Freaking friend. He was my guy. I have Nebraska tattooed across my chest. So the joke about Madison, ha. This is true, not a joke. Big up Amir Abdullah fan. Yeah, okay. Y'all remember him.
All right. So for my next player is stock or value way up. And I am saying value up on a number 1 overall pick. And if I told you that, you would go, how can you say value up on a number 1 overall pick? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Because Bryce Young sucked. Okay? He didn't have I don't care. He sucked. And I don't care if he was not my number 1 QB going into the draft last year. Because he wasn't. It was Stroud. Jamie knows that. However, when you're the number 1 overall pick in the NFL, gosh dang draft, you can't stink that bad. However, we brought it up a little bit last time, Jamie. You're good. We brought it up a little bit last time. So here is my reasoning. You ready for this, Reggie?
Ready.
You got Dave Canales as the new head coach. Do you know where Dave Canales was 2 years ago?
Not Tampa Bay.
Nope. He was the quarterbacks coach for a guy who was trying to resurrect his career named Geno freaking Smith.
Yes.
Then he leaves Seahawks and goes and ends up being the offensive coordinator for a guy trying to resurrect his career named Baker freaking Mayfield. Now he goes to freaking Carolina as the head coach of a guy trying to resurrect his young career in Bryce Young. What's one of the things that we just brought up about that flag behind you that team did not do for their quarterback? They did not get him the weapons that they need. Oh, what do? In the offseason, you go get Deontay Johnson. Now in the draft, I was already a little bit higher on him before the draft. He was even one of my buys before the draft. So you go out and you get Deontay, like I just brought up. Then you go out and draft Jonathan Brooks. You go up and trade for Xavier Leggett. Then you go draft Jatavian Sanders. You literally brought in 3, even though Jatavian, you don't know, I mean, he's a tight end, he's a 3rd or 4th round. You brought in 3 weapons on top of the Deontay Johnson that you already brought in the offseason and Dave Canales. They are setting him up, even if he doesn't succeed fully this year, they are setting him up for success. They still need to work a little bit on that offensive line, and who knows what's going to happen with the system, getting them worked into the system. But overall, this is a stock up. I am taking him in best ball. I would trade. I've even told you, Jamie, I would trade for him in Superflex right now if the price was right.
Yep.
6 months ago, I would have been telling you to take him off of my team. Now you couldn't pry him off of my team.
You can get him for a late first right now.
Yeah.
In Dynasty, and I would take that all day.
Yep.
So
yeah, go ahead, Jamie.
For me, if you look at his stats last year, yeah, he was bad, right? But pass attempts, he was a top 12 quarterback at pass attempts. Red zone attempts, yeah, a little bit down, lower in like the 20s, 30s. But his, if you look at his danger plays, he was all over those danger plays. He was top 10 in danger plays, but he had no one that goes up and actually catches the ball. Now he has Xavier Leggett that can actually help him because Leggett can go up in the catch point. He can bully people and catch those balls that he's throwing downfield. So at first I was off Leggett, and then I was talking to Brian a little bit, Brian Ford, and he explained to me how good Leggett is downfield at the catch point and how that's going to help Bryce Young. And I already thought Bryce Young was a plus when Deontay Johnson went there because that's all he does is dump off passes. And that's what Deontay Johnson's great at, is just catching dump off passes. But having both those weapons there in that offense, I think he's going to take a major jump this year. You can buy him at like RB or a quarterback, 20, 25 even.
Yep.
And I could see him ending up being number 14, 15 at the end of the year.
Right now in best ball, he's going as QB 28.
And I could see him being a top 15 guy. So that is definitely.
That's what I'm saying. I'm going to get him as my QB3 with Deontay on the team as another stat.
How about,
I love that.
How about redraft? You buy it in on redraft?
As redraft single QB?
Yeah.
No.
I would buy him as, I would maybe get him as if I was going to.
Number 3.
I would get him as a 2.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Bryce Young, one thing that he has going for him, Andrew Luck sucked his first year. Peyton Manning led the league in interceptions, or was that Luck? I got that wrong.
No,
but
it was Peyton.
So we can't
those guys are also
after his first year. And I think Deontay Johnson is the new Adam Thielen in that offense, so I think he'll be relevant for fantasy. But how did we just? Maybe you guys said it, but nobody mentioned Jonathan Brooks, the RB1 of this class.
No, I said they drafted.
Okay.
Brooks.
Okay. Well, I still cannot buy into Bryce Young, and I see, and Tony Leggett was a mistake in the first round. They could have, I don't know their draft stock, but I just think that was a little early for him. But maybe not. I could be wrong. What I can't trust is this organization. I'm not sure who's in charge, the coach, the owner, like the toxic stuff that came out of that team last year. I'm going to need to see it first. But I understand what you guys are saying.
I completely agree. And I'll preface the reason I think Leggett is going to work. I think they pulled the trigger a tiny bit too early. But here's the thing. The one thing I will say about any draft pick from the 5th round up, I don't care if he's a 4th round pick or not, is if a team is willing to trade up to get you, they have faith in you. The other thing is they moved in from the 2nd to the 1st to get him, And the key thing about that is that's putting them actually on the bill because he's a first-round pick, they're on the dot for that fifth-year option. So you're actually putting more faith in them by moving up from the second to first to get that extra year of control. That's the only reason I think Carolina has faith in Xavier Legette.
I think he'll be great if they have a plan for him.
And
I don't think they have a plan.
Yeah.
Just that organization, I have no faith. They have a plan. He is going to be amazing, but it ain't going to be his route running.
I believe they did draft the offensive lineman, didn't they? Like earlier in the third
or something.
So
Jamie, you're ready to get to work?
Yes, let's do this.
You ready to get paid, Jamie?
Yes.
All right, Jamie, get paid. Today's show is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Check out their industry-leading best ball leagues with huge tournaments, private leagues, and pick'ems every major sport. Sign up with our promo code GF2 and get a deposit up to $100. It's as simple as that. Use promo code GF2 and you can start drafting your best ball teams now. Go sign up for their Discord as well. There's specials in there. I know that's not brought to you by GF2, but I've been in their Discord. They have specials in their Discord. I don't even know what the score is, but I have a pick 'em going right now with Caitlin Clark. So, that's that. We are going to get into the cheat of the week. You're good. Okay. So, Jamie, let's keep these a little bit shorter than normal just because we are already at the hour and 11-minute mark. But why don't you, since you got two, why don't you go right now and give you got two, so you got one good and one bad. I have a feeling I know which one's which, but I'm just gonna preface you. I'm gonna lead you in by saying, do we really have to talk about the Raiders again?
Raider Nation, baby. That's what I'm saying.
Don't you dare say that.
They got a quarterback. They brought in Gardner Minshew to be the backup, but they were planning on drafting a running back. They didn't get who they wanted in the draft. Instead, they got the number one tight end prospect of all time, Brock Bowers. So pairing him with Gardner Minshew, that is going to help bring Gardner Minshew up a little bit. We saw what he could do last year with the Colts. He was decent. But adding Brock Bowers that can go on the slot, he can go on the outside, he can be a tight end, he can go out of the backfield. So that brings Mayer down. So I see people in all my leagues trying to sell Mayer, their second-round pick from last year. And no one's biting. No one wants Mayer, man. Unless you get points per block, he's worthless right now. But not only did they bring in Brock Bowers, they brought in one of the best pass-catching running backs in this class, Dylan Lobby. All right. He is going to destroy Amir Abdullah in that backfield. You could put Lob in the slot also. You could put Lob out of the backfield. Lob had a game where he had like 295 receiving yards out of the backfield in one game. When have you seen Amir Abdullah do that? Never.
Oh, come on. Low blow. When have you seen Alexander? When have you seen Roshan do that?
Week 1 when he was the RB8 on the week.
You said 295 yards.
I'm okay.
That ain't RB. Oh, don't even start. Don't even start. All right, Reggie, while you were away, we're going to try to do the cheats of the week a little bit faster since we're already at the hour and 12-minute mark now. Give me a quick take on Gardner Minshew or Brock Bowers.
No, it was Mayer. Mayer was my down.
Or not Bowers. Mayer and Minshew, yeah. I said Bowers because,
I think Mayer will be safe in tight end premium leagues. I think they'll both play. They'll both get theirs. But he's there as a dump off. He isn't going to get money down the field. I think he'll be fine in tight end premium leagues. I'm stuck with him.
Or two tight end,
yeah, or two tight end. He's a talented player, and I think they're going to play a lot of two tight end sets they did last year. So I think he'll be a safe play in two tight ends and heavy tight end premiums.
All right. So why don't you just run it in? You were talking about another tight end. Why don't you go ahead, sir?
I got to go with it's all about the value. Everybody has a price. I was in on another tight end, but where I see this tight end going, Dalton Kincaid. What did Buffalo do? They lost a predominantly elite wide receiver, even though he wasn't that elite, in Stephon Diggs to Houston, who they replaced him with Kenyon Coleman, who is as enthusiastic and charismatic as there seems, but hasn't did anything yet. Are they going to try to put Khalil Shakur on the outside and run Curtis Samuels in the slot? I think they're going to make or try to, I know the NBA is a copycat league, but I think they're going to try to do something along the lines of Kansas City, where the offense runs through Dalton Kincaid. And the number of tight ends that's going before him has me in on Dalton Kincaid. I just can't get him because I haven't gauged. I'm seeing where he always gets picked right before me if I want him. But I just start wanting them because I didn't got some McBrides, and I'm starting to question that with Marvin Harrison. And then I'm just thinking, I really I want a piece of that Buffalo offense. And the one that don't worry me is Dalton Kincaid.
I love that take, man. I love Dalton Kincaid. If Brock Bowers wasn't coming into this league, I would have Dalton Kincaid as my number 2 overall in Dynasty. I have trouble going back and forth between McBride, like you mentioned, and Kincaid. I think I want to put Kincaid over McBride because in the rookie drafts that year, I was drafting Kincaid in the late first. Right? When I was drafting McBride, I was getting him in the mid-second. So I kind of want to keep with that and put Kincaid over McBride, especially now that they lost Diggs and they brought in a rookie. He would be my number 1 if it wasn't for Sam Laporta going off last year. So give me all the Kincaid. I think he can fight for that number 1 overall tight end spot, honestly.
Great points. Like you just mentioned, Buffalo lost some pieces. Arizona added.
Yeah.
So the math ain't mathing.
Yep. Agree. Yep. And to me, Coleman makes a better big body slot guy, but they're not going to use him as that big body slot guy. They're going to use him on the outside. Kincaid's going to be that big body slot guy when they move him outside. Like the math.
There's an odd man out there, and it's not Kincaid.
Yep. Wheels up. Wheels up for Kincaid. Good one.
All right, so here we go. I'm about to irritate some people.
Uh-oh.
I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to. But I have a question for you two first.
Uh-oh.
How did JSN do last year?
A little under 700 yards receiving, I think 690.
But
I don't know.
He did good, but he did okay to the hype, to the standard of what the hype for his, you know what I'm saying. He was supposed to be this top-notch guy, but the problem is you got 2 guys in front of him.
Well, we knew that going in.
I know.
Yeah.
We knew that, but there's still the hype of people being upset that they drafted him, and people are like, people are selling him now because he did. There's people selling him because he didn't have. I'm not saying it isn't. Yeah. I agree. But here's where I'm going with that. My value is down, and not for Dynasty people. This is not Dynasty. But for redraft, there is going to be people that are going to buy the hype, and I mean by the hype and buy the draft capital in redraft leagues, not Dynasty, not Keeper. I'm talking pure redraft, because if it's Keeper or Dynasty, it's a great pick. There's going to be people upset about Roma Dunze after 2024. Because people are going to draft him thinking he's going to step in as the top number 9 pick in the draft and be able to go, oh, he's only a couple picks behind Marvin and Malik. He's going to be the number. No, you still got Keenan Allen this year, and you got DJ Moore. Keenan after this year, bye-bye. Keenan's done, in my opinion, after this year. Yep. But for this year only, Rome is the third guy on that team, and he's gonna perform closer to JSN than he is a number one wideout. And Reggie disagrees with me.
I strongly disagree because you cannot put them two in the same boat. Let's remember, JSN sat out a lot of his last college year, and he broke his hand in the preseason or training camp. So I agree with you to assist. It'd be close, but we can get another. Let's say it was 690. I see you seeing more out of Odunze. Like they're gonna have to be like. I just don't see. I don't think he's going to lose value like JSN. But JSN had not played in a year.
I don't think he's going to lose. I don't think he's going to lose value in Dynasty. I think people are going to be
disappointed
in redraft.
Yeah, that's possible. But I think it's going to be a little different. I don't think he should be drafted where he's being drafted at. But I think he's going to do well. That trio in the Bears, will they pass more? It's a lot of different things that's going to come into play.
I mean, it's a Seattle offense. That's the thing. It's literally the Seattle.
Okay,
that's why you can compare them, huh?
Can I jump in real quick?
Yeah. Go ahead, sir.
Odunze and JSN are two completely different types of receivers.
I agree with you there.
JSN was in the slot because you had Lockett and Metcalf, right?
Yep.
So you saw a lot of the A dots were negative for JSN being thrown behind the line of scrimmage. He gets his yak, whatever. Odunze doesn't profile that. So in two wide receiver sets, I can see Odunze being on one side, more on the other side, and Allen being the odd man out. Allen's 32 years old. He's on his way out of the league. I can see, and plus he's injury prone. I could see a scenario where Odunze is the number 2 in that offense behind DJ Moore. And Allen's on the way out, but people aren't looking at it like that. People are looking at it as DJ Moore and Allen and then Odunze in the backfield, out of the question. So give me Odunze at his value all day, even in redraft.
No, I agree with you. I'll be honest. For the first 3 quarters of the year, I don't think you're right about him being the odd man out, Allen. I don't think he will be. I think that could be later in the year. I just think that target-wise, I just think production-wise, it's like I said, it's not the dynasty, it's not the keeper. It's the redraft, like you said, Reggie. He's being drafted a little too high. Even in best ball, he's being drafted a tad too high for me, where in redraft, I'm probably not going to have much of them, but I will. I do got him in Dynasty already. I have a couple more rookie drafts coming up. I do have him in Dynasty. I might get him in best ball, but probably not because I'm not willing to spend what I'm going to have to, depending on what happens with, different tournaments and stuff with correlation and whatever when it comes to, Jamie, you know what I'm talking about. When it comes to the schedule coming out, it changes certain things and whatever. But that's pretty much it. So we have given our 10 cheats of the week. It was a great episode talking veterans. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Throw it around the horn real quick. Reggie, sign off, bud.
I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys for having me again. I am the Network One. You can find me across all social medias. It's pinned right there, TH33NETWRK1. We'll see you soon.
Jamie.
Yeah, bro, I'm grinding right now. I'm doing all kinds of stuff.
You're finally knowing what I had to go through for the past 3 freaking years.
Yes, I am actually getting up there. I want to be what you are, Mike. So I am putting in the work. I got stuff going out on the Fantasy 6-pack. I got stuff right here at Going for 2. I just had a couple episodes on the RPO network. Go check it out. We did rankings 1 through 50 for our rookie rankings. And I can't wait to be back with you, man. This is my favorite episode of all time.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And so you guys know where to find me. Drop the Mike FF on the Twitter machine. Hit me up for your graphics. I did another one for the opening season opener. I don't know if you saw that one, Jamie.
Yes, I loved it.
So for Reggie, for Jamie, I am Mike. Have a nice night, everyone.